Hello and welcome back. This is the third lecture, Basic Shapes of Section 2. In the previous section, we have seen the instruments required. Now I am going to show you some of the basic shapes before going into the actual engineering drawing syllabus. This is actually covered in geometrical constructions of engineering drawing syllabus, which we will deal in section 8. But here we will see some basic forms and shapes like regular polygons, drawing straight lines, etc. So here in this section we are going to see lines, circles and arcs, you can say, rectangle, regular polygons, so first we will see about lines. Here I will draw a line of 50 mm. Mm means millimeter here, and the second question also draw a line of 5 centimeter. So we'll see first how to draw a line with using drafter of 50 mm. You can observe here 1 2 3 4 5, these are centimeters. So the small divisions are mm. So from 1 to 5, if I take, this is going to be 50 because every one division is 10 mm. So this is a 50 mm line. This is our first line of 50 mm. I hope you have seen that. And now I'll just write it here, 50 mm. And now I will draw the other line, which is 5 centimeter. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 centimeter. So I'll mark here this line as 5 centimeter line. So here you can observe these both lines are equal because 10 mm is equal to 1 centimeter. Here we will see one more problem, two more problems. Let us draw a line of 125 mm and draw a line of 12.5 centimeter. So again I will draw that first, the third line, which is 125 mm. Oh, what has happened? So I will take 125 mm in between 12 and 13 centimeter line here. You can observe here. So this is going to be my 125 mm line, 125 millimeter. I'll write here 125 millimeter. And our fourth question, 12.5 centimeters. So I will count the centimeters, the 12, between 12 and 13. Again the same thing here. So between 12 and 13, 12.5. So from starting I've taken the 12.5 mm, 12.5 centimeter distance. So I have shown these examples because I want you to observe that 10 mm is equal to 1 centimeter, and in exams it might give sometimes in mm or sometimes in centimeter also. But here for our course every questions will be in millimeters only. You should not worry about that. Just make a note of it that 10 mm is equal to 1 centimeter. 125 mm will be equal to 12.5 centimeter. Now we will draw a line of 3.5 centimeter. So if it is given 3.5 centimeters, you need to make sure that we will take the point between 3 and 4 centimeter line. So this is a very small line here, which is actually not visible to you. So that was it. Now we will draw some circles, and I will show you first how to draw a circle by taking the radius as 15 mm. So here in this given question it is 15 mm radius, and the seventh question is we have to draw a circle with diameter 30 mm. So we will see this together. First I will complete the question number 6, that is by taking the radius of 15 mm. So here in your scale, first I will draw some axis lines. Whenever you are going to draw a circle, it is best practice to draw first axis lines. Axis line means there will be one small line and one bigger line. vertical and horizontal. At the 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 point at which these two lines meet is called center point. From that center point, we have to draw the circle. So first I will measure the radius of 15 mm. So 15 mm means 1.5 centimeter, 1.5 centimeter, 15 mm same. So in between 1 and 2, I have measured the radius. You observe that I have taken the radius, the distance between the nib of the compass and pencil nib is radius, is the distance radius. So this is a circle of 15 mm radius. So I'm just taking one more axis line. I'm extending it so that I can draw the 7th question here. Which is 30 mm diameter. This is radius 15 mm. This is not the actual way to write the dimension on circle. We will see about dimensioning in the next lecture. For now, just observe the difference between radius and diameter. So for drawing a circle with diameter 30 mm, I will take again the radius as 15 mm. Yes, I am going to again take the radius as 15 mm. Similar to this circle. Again I will draw the circle. Oh, I just made that. So one more circle, but this is diameter 30 mm. The sizes are equal. There is no difference whatsoever between these two circles, whether it may be radius 15 mm or diameter 30 mm. So from center to the periphery of the circle, the distance is called radius. I'll mark one line here. From the center to the outer periphery, that distance is called radius, and we will give this dimensioning by taking arrowhead in this fashion, and I will write R15 here. This is the dimensioning of the circle when the radius is given, and you observe that I have taken R before. I will show you about the dimensioning also in the next lecture, but here we will see how to dimension the diameter. I have to take two arrows now because I am covering the full length from one corner to other corner, and this is going to be dia 30. This is the symbol of diameter, a circle, and there will be inside one line, and we can take R for radius. So the important thing we have observed from these two problems is that the relation between the radius and diameter is that diameter is twice the radius. We have known this already from our lower classes, but still many students suffer during practice and exam halls. Whenever in the exam it is given question, they will take the radius wrong. That is why I am showing you here. One diameter is going to be 2 times the radius. 2 into radius. D is equal to 2R, or you can say R is equal to D by 2. That means radius is half the diameter. So even if it is given 30 mm diameter, you have to take the radius as 15 mm. So for drawing with compass, you always take the radius, and this distance is called, this distance from this nib to the pencil nib is always going to be radius. Radius, radius, radius. So even if diameter is given, we will take the radius. Now we will see one more, two more problems. Draw a circle with 20 mm radius and draw a circle with diameter 20 mm. So here I have axis lines marked already. So as I said, whenever we have to draw a circle, we have to take the radius, and in question number 8, radius is directly given. So I will take the radius as 20 mm directly. And you can observe that I am drawing the circle here. Now our circle is completed with 20 radius. This was question number 8. Now when I'll just mark the dimensions also. Note that I have to take only one arrow from the center line. This is going to be R20. You can write inside also, but as far as possible place that outside. You will see about that rule in the next lecture in the dimensioning. Now we will draw the ninth question with diameter 20 So we are going to draw a circle with diameter 20 here. So we have to take the radius as 10 because radius is half the diameter. 20 by 2 is 10, and I have told you that r is equal to d by 2. And while drawing the circle with compass, we have to always take radius, radius and radius. Even in the question diameter is given, we will do the calculation 20 by 2 which is equal to 10, and we will draw the circle. Now you can observe the distance, observe the difference between these two circles. When the radius is 20, you can have that circle on your left hand side. When the diameter is 20, it is looking like it is half in size, because when the radius is 20 it means 40 diameter, and on your right hand side the diameter is just 20. This is 40 diameter circle. And I hope you can observe the differences now between the radius and diameter. This is very important. Here the diameter is 20 and the radius is 10 Very important thing to note. Now we'll draw some arcs. Again we have to use compass here. And the 10th question is, we have to draw an arc of 30 radius and we have to complete a semicircle. So an arc is nothing but we will draw a smaller portion of a circle. That means we will not complete the circle. We will just leave the circle open. And the 11th question also, we have to draw an arc of 30 and we have to complete a quadrant with it. So we have to see the difference between semicircle and quadrant here. So first I will draw the question number 10, that is the semicircle. I have taken one line and I have taken one point also, which is the center point of this semicircle. So 30, the radius is 30, as we know how to take the radius. And now you see that I will draw an arc. This is actually an arc, even this much is arc, but we have to complete the semicircle here. That is why you see that I have taken half circle here. Half of a circle is going to be called as semicircle. So this is going to be your semicircle on your screen. We have just drawn some arc and then we have completed the semicircle. I'll just dimension it properly. We have to take one arrow only while giving the dimensions of radius. Radius is 30 here. Now when coming to our 11th question, we have to draw the quadrant here. So we'll draw it exactly below this. I'll take one more line here and one center point somewhere here. Again the same procedure here. We have to measure 30. And you see that I have drawn the arc and I have completed the quadrant. Quadrant means 1/4 of a circle, quarter of a circle, or you can say half of the semicircle. So this is a quadrant and this is also with radius 30 So you can see the difference. The radius is 30 but because it is not a circle, we are having given semicircle and quadrant. You can observe that we have not completed the circles, but we have to draw the axis line. Now we will see about rectangle. First we will draw a rectangle of 40 length and 30 width. and we will obtain its center point also with diagonals. This is very important with respect to projection of solids section, that is section 4th of this course. But first I will draw this rectangle, 40 mm length and 30 mm width, as you can see. So I can complete this rectangle very easily. So we can easily place the center point of this rectangle, but here it's best practice always to take diagonal lines to mark the center. As you can see here that by just drawing these two diagonal lines, I have got the center point here, and this is the easiest procedure to get the center point always. So I'll just dimension it. I am not dimensioning it properly. I'll do it later. So now we will see about polygons. Poly means many, and polygon is a closed figure which is having more than two sides. That means if a figure is having say 3 sides, it will be called triangle, 4 sides square, in this fashion. So polygon means a closed figure which is having more than 2 sides. This is very important. Polygon should and must be closed, and it should have more than 2 sides. And in polygons we will have regular polygons and irregular polygons. In regular polygons all sides will be equal. For example, in square all sides will be equal. That is going to be called a regular polygon. An irregular polygon means all sides will not be equal. But in our context we will be dealing with regular polygons only, and that too triangle, square, pentagon, hexagon, and many more are there like octagon, septagon, but here we are limited to hexagon only for this course. So we'll see now how to draw them one by one. So this is question 13. Draw an equilateral triangle with side 30 mm and obtain its center point. So it's clearly mentioned we have to draw an equilateral triangle. Equilateral means all sides must be equal. So observe here that I will take the 14th question here also, because they are very small. So we can draw the square also here on this screen right now, and we will obtain its center point also. So first, question number 13. You see that I will take one line 30 mm, that is 3 centimeter here, and for drawing the other two sides I will use compass here. Please observe here carefully. I am using compass here, and I am marking 2 arcs in this fashion from both ends of this straight line, and the point where these 2 arcs meet, from there we can join the ends of this line. So we will have our beautiful equilateral triangle ready with minimal effort. But here we have to obtain its center point also. For that reason, you observe one procedure here. From every line's center, if it is 30, then it is going to be 15. I will join the opposite corner from this on this line. Take the distance as 15 mm. 30 by 2 is 15. Half of 30 is 15, and I will join this point with the opposite corner. And you see that from this line also we can take. So from this line, so we have to take 15 mm distance again, and we will join it to the opposite corner. You can observe a common point through which all these 3 lines are moving. That point is going to be our center point. This is very important for projection of solids and other sections. Please observe that carefully. If you haven't got, go back and see that once again. Square is a simple case. As we have drawn the rectangle earlier, we can complete the square very easily. But make sure all the sides are equal. And to obtain the center point, draw the diagonals, which is the easiest method to obtain the center point. Obtaining of center point is very, very, very important. So I am marking here again 40. This is not the actual way to dimension it. This is not the proper dimensioning, but for the time being Let's just take it. And now we have to draw a regular pentagon. Pentagon can be drawn by many methods, but here we will see pentagon of 30 mm side by using protractor and compass method. So I'll tell you one more time that pentagon can be drawn with many methods, but here we are going to see only pentagon by protractor and by using compass. So first I will show you how to draw a regular pentagon. That means a figure with 5 sides equal. Pentagon means a figure with 5 sides equal by using a protractor. So observe here carefully, this is going to be very important. I have taken first line here, which is 30 mm as given. Now by using the protractor scale, I will mark an angle of 72 degree from this side. 72 degree. Make a note of it, 72 degree. And I will just draw one line, not till that point because the side is only 30. After taking that line for some distance, now I will take this distance as 30 because this is a regular pentagon and every side is going to be equal, and pentagon will have 5 equal sides. So one more time, again you can see that I have aligned the protractor scale now with the second lines ending, and I have marked again 72 degree, 72 degree, and again I have taken some line. This is going to be again 30 mm. Now we have completed 3 lines and 2 more to go. Again I will align the draft protractor scale with the first line, or else I can align with the fourth line or third line also, but here from this side also I'll show you. Now we have to take from this side. Don't get confused. The protractor will have markings of angles from both sides, but it depends from where the reference point is, the angle. So this is going to be 30 again. Now you see that if I join these two ends, I'll get the pentagon. Here I'm having a beautiful pentagon. I can number these corners here, 5 corners. And to get the center point, again from the center of any line, that is 30 by 215, join the opposite corner. This is the easiest way. And from any other line, take 30 by 215 and join the opposite corner. So this is going to be our center point. We can take from all the lines also, but 2 lines will be enough because we have already got our center point. But still, just to show you, I'm drawing one line here. You can take from 4th and 5th line also. So this is going to be our center point, and we can mark that point as O. And this angle is very important, which is going to be 72 degree. So this was a pentagon by using protractor, and for easy remembrance, just pentagon will have 5 sides and 360 by 5 will be 72 degree. That would be easy for you to remember. 72 degree pentagon, penta, 5 sides, 360 by 5 is 72 degree. 72 degree. That's it. You can easily remember this angle. And now I will draw the pentagon by using compass method. So here I will take the first line, here the 30 mm line. Now I will name them as A and B. You can name them 1 or 2 also. So A and B will be better. And I will bisect these lines. I'll take the half distance and I will draw one more line at the center. Length doesn't matter here. Just take one more line, and from that center point, keep the compass there, and the radius till A, draw one arc. From that center point to this A point, radius, we have to draw arc, and we will mark this center point as P. This is very important, and this method is going to be somewhat lengthier, so you need to concentrate here. And again, we have to draw one perpendicular line from point B, which is of same length of the side of pentagon given 30 mm. I will mark this point as Q. Now, I have to take the compass one more time. Sorry, I will take the compass one more time, and I will keep it at the center, that is P, and with radius Q, PQ, with center P and radius PQ, I will cut an arc here. You can find at the baseline besides the point B, and then with center A and the distance as AR, the point which we obtained, I have named that as R. I will draw one more arc here, and I will take the radius as AB, and I will cut one more arc, and these two arcs will meet at a point. This is the second point of the pentagon. That means if we join this point with the end B, we'll get the second side of our pentagon. I hope you have followed till here. Again, with radius AB and center A, I have to cut one arc, and then again with radius A and R. Again radius A and R with center B, I have to cut this arc which I have obtained before, and I have to join the point obtained from these two arcs with A. This is the, we can say, the third side of pentagon. So now you can see that a pentagon is going to appear here, and again with center AR, I have to cut one arc with center B also, and the point at which these two arcs are meeting will be the fifth point of the pentagon. That means if we join this with the other lines, we will have our pentagon completed. So this is the procedure for drawing pentagon by using compass method, but I will use the protractor method here. Now, question number 16, we have to draw a hexagon with protractor and compass. So we have to use protractor and compass here. So let us first draw this regular hexagon by using protractor method. So first line would always be a straight line with the line with normal drafter scale, and now you can observe the protractor scale. I am marking an angle of 60 degree from this side, and I will take some line not till that point at which we have taken the 60 degree angle, and we have to take the angle from this side also, and I will repeat that same procedure, small line, and now I will complete the 30 mm line. We can take this angle with drafter also, but we'll get accurate values with the protractor scale, because your drafter might have error with the protractor scale. So again I will take same 60 degree angle from the end point of the second line. I will take some small line from there, and again with the drafter scale. You can confirm this by matching the drafter scale's protractor also 60 degree, but here I am taking protractor scale. So again from this point, this end of the point, we have to take from 60 degree. So I am telling you one more time that protractor scale will have two markings from 0 to 180 from this side and that side also. So you need to be sure before taking the angle. And now you can see that if I join the two ends of this line, we will get the sixth side of our hexagon. So this completes our hexagon. And now to get the center, just join the we can just join the diagonals. We can draw the diagonals and obtain the center point of this hexagon. Now you can see the center point obtained. We can number this hexagon as A, B, C, D, E, F, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the center as O. Here the angle is 60 degree. Because hexagon will have 6 sides, 360 by 6 is going to be 60. You need to remember in this fashion. 360 by 6 is going to be 60 degree. Some people will say that you have to take 120 degree angle also. That will also be correct, but that depends from which point you are taking angle in the protractor scale. So at this point, just say that it is 60 degree. It is easy to remember also. 360 by 6 is equal to 60. Now I will draw the hexagon with compass method. Here you see that I have taken compass, and this is my favorite method because just I have to draw one line and I have to measure the distance and I have to cut arcs. As you can observe here, from every point I will draw arcs. You can see the arcs from the center point also. You just see that I have just drawn one line and then I am taking only arcs. With these arcs only we can complete the hexagon very easily in no time. When I join this the meeting points of arc with another points, I'll get a hexagon. You see that hexagon has been completed within no time. You can number this sides points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and center as well. And this method we will follow throughout our engineering drawing course because this is fast. Thank you.